That.
Maybe you can go through this. What is this? TBC Classic Deep Dive Panel Recap. Oh. Huh. I mean, maybe. I mean, you guys don't give a shit, but I actually am interested. I literally logged onto Classic WoW this morning to go into my bank and clear out all the shit I don't care about anymore. So there's a couple of issues. Let me look through and just before I bring up the issues with what the fuck's going on.
Luckily, I struck coil, otherwise my family would be on the streets without cold water getting baptized in my own bathtub, you fucking horse shit streamer.
I don't care.
Have a good day.
I don't care. Players originally wanted spell batching, but after playing with it for a while, they're going to be removing spell batching. Cool. Over the course of time, players have gotten a lot better, so they're going to give pre-nerf versions of bosses. The initial version of that boss had a lot of spell pushback, and they nerfed the boss a little to help do something. A month after they nerfed Muru's health, and that's something they'll probably wouldn't do. Okay. Well, I'm glad. All right, here's my opinion. I'm glad they're going to make the bosses harder, pre-nerf, and all that jazz, yada, yada, yada. I guarantee you, after one day, actually, no, day one, every boss is going to die. It doesn't matter. So, who gives a shit? It's all gonna die first day. It's not hard. That's just how it is. Shit's a joke. Let me get my chat off my screen. Y'all are pissing me off. Imagine nerfing it. Well, everyone was really bad back then. But even that, like, private servers, they literally buff bosses, like health, damage, everything by like 30%. And they still die day one. So there's that. Let's see. Seal of Blood was so much better than Seal of Vengeance. Basically, they're making Rep Paladins viable on both sides. That's cool. I like that. They're going to put the last version of Arena teams where you can have a team size that is twice the size of the Arena bracket compared to exactly numbers. So it used to be you have to, for 3v3, you can only have 3 people on the team. But later on, they made it to where, like, for 3v3 team rosters, you can have, like, 5. Which is cool. I think everyone's good with that. They're going to give players access to Blood Elves and Draenei early. Cool. Whatever. All right, here's the problem. This is problem number 1. Hyjal and Black Temple come out the same time as Arena Season 2. So, people will have Warglaves Season 2. I want you to understand how fucking bad that is. That's terrible. That's how it was in real TBC, though, too. I think I checked dates. I don't think so. Maybe at the end of Season 2, you could have them, like, at the end, but glaives are literally like Season 4 weapons. But you can get them in Season 3. They're just, I mean, they're legendary, right? They're just that good. So, I don't know about that. They might need to re-look at that and maybe make some changes. ZA is reasons. Everything else is fine. Who gives a shit? Everyone's mad about the fact that you can boost a character. They're up in arms and pissy about it. I don't care. Don't mind that much. However, I do. This is my autistic side. I want the server to be super popular, but so anything to make it more popular, more accessible to more people is fun, because then you feel more value because more people play. But at the same time, I really want to re-level. I want a fresh server so badly. Because to me, it's like, I kind of want to, I don't know. I don't want to just log into my fucking fully Nax geared druid and then not get a single piece of gear through the entirety of Outland until I reach level 70, in which case even some of the dungeon gear still isn't better than my Nax gear. You're like, well, why don't you just make a new character? It's not about that. It's the fact that the people around me are going to do it. Like, I would feel stupid if I don't do that. And I don't like that. Oh, but the gyms. Sure, you're right. There are upgrades. Of course, you're going to replace your Nax gear in BC eventually. It's a matter of, I kind of want to get that feeling of like, when I complete my first quest in Outland, I'm going to use that gear. I want that so badly. Not to mention also, I kind of want to earn my way to Black Temple. Or not to Black Temple, to BC again. I don't know. This is my... I get it. I get that everyone's got their opinion. I have mine. I want fresh servers, but I'm not going to fucking throw a hissy fit about it. You can do Kara with Nax gear. Yeah. Copied character servers, so people have to pay for this. Everyone's mad about it. I don't care because I'm rich. I guess Blizzard's got to make their money here and there. For this is like worth it, but they make so much money. I don't know. There is some justified upsetness going on with the fact you have to pay to copy your character. Like, it's justified. But the whole fucking boosting your character, that I don't give that any attention at all. Soon in 2021. They're looking to start the beta soon. What the fuck does soon mean? People are mad about the boosting because of botting. I'm confused. I don't know. I don't get it. It's probably in May. What's the month right now? Yeah, May sounds about right. We'll see, though. It's because botters can get banned, then make a new account and boost to 60. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, now that you've kind of shown me the light, I get it. Another reason why I want a fresh server is this economy is going to be absolutely fucked. When you copy your character or whatever and go to BC, like, do you carry your gold over too? I wonder. Unlimited gold cap. It doubles your gold. No, I don't know about that. There's no way. Are you kidding me? All right. Let's see what else they talk about on this. Oh, it's short. Oh, there's not a lot here. Pictures I don't care about. PC gamer had an interview with Blizzard. Yada, yada, yada. Some boosts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, let me read this. Much like Classic Web Festival, were say one of the challenges was translating all of the expansion out of the content, the gameplay rules. I don't care about. Just tell me the facts. All right, it's nothing new is being said in any of these paragraphs. All right, here we go. This is important. We want to make sure we maintain faction identity, but also realize there's an imbalance between the Horde and Alliance, Paladin, Seal. Okay, so literally just Paladins. Man, I wonder what they're going to do. I mean, sure, the Paladin Seals will help, but at the end of the day, Horde is literally better. Alliance, maybe I'm too focused on PvP, but I'm pretty sure Horde is also better in PvE as well. Is it not? Okay, so in PvE, if Horde is better, let me tell you how it is in PvP. All right? Alliance is only better in a few scenarios. One, dwarfs can remove poisons. That's really good for like hunter. It's specifically 2v2 stuff. Alliance is better in 2v2 sometimes. Specifically, warriors being gnome, playing with like a resto druid, being able to remove novas is really fucking big. It can win you games. Or roots from druids. What else? But like orc warrior is fucking amazing in 3v3 specifically. Dwarf hunters being able to remove 5 stacks of wound poison. I don't need to explain why that's amazing. Same with priests being able to do it. Dwarf priests. There's something else that's so fucking big. Prep is really, really good for rogues because you can catch other rogues out of stealth here and there. But man, like Will of the Forsaken is always good. It's not really situational a lot of the time. It's just always fucking good. I don't know. Horde is just better in every way, except for some situations. And so, here, let me give you an example of the problem. Private server I played on, they made it to where Alliance had benefits. Number one, of course, they gave like Alliance rep paladins this different seal of blood to balance that out. They did all that stuff, but they also made it to where like the Alliance side had like free respecs. The Alliance side had like discounts on this. They could transfer. They could do all sorts of crazy stuff, just so it would somewhat fix the population. And the population swing was still 60-40 after those changes in favor of Horde. So I don't know. Play Alliance pussy? I don't want to. I think I'm gonna play Horde because all my friends want to play Horde. They want to play undead rogues. They can't be bothered with fucking human. It's ugly and stupid. So I'm probably gonna be going Horde. Bruce really wants to play Alliance because he's a hunter and he wants to be able to remove wound poisons. In 2v2, I can't be bothered. Plus, War Stomp is amazing. I'm going to be playing a Feral Druid, but I'm also going to have Resto Druid gear. So, example, I will do Honor grinding for both a Feral and a Resto set. I will do both. However, when for arena points, I can only buy one piece of gear at a time. I'm going to get Feral first, and then I'll farm Resto. In PvE, I'll probably be, like, next in line for, like, Resto gear. After the rest of druids, but obviously I'm going to prio Feral first, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. God damn it. On the subject of Feral Druid, this is something a lot of you probably don't know about, and it might be a change. Maybe they'll make this. I think it would be good because it's kind of, I think, a really good way to buff the shitty classes. They're shitty, and this won't make them good. This will just make them less shitty, but they're still shit in PvP. So I'll give an example. I wish I could... Can y'all link me the Feral BC gear? Like PvP gear? I'd rather just show you a picture. Maybe I just Google it. Merciless, Gladiator, Dragon Hide. I don't know. Let's type that in. All right, here we go. Oh, God. This is why I didn't want to look it up. Fuck. How do I look up the actual BC version? Okay. All right. So here's something they did in BC. And they fucked up. Feral Druids... and this is both Merciless and the regular Season 1 gear. Both did this. And let me show you this. Vengeful, Gladiator, Dragon Hide, TBC. All right. So here's Season 3 gear. All right. Here's Season 2 gear. Do you see what Blizzard realized Feral Druids didn't need and made a change to buff them? With the gear? No? All right. Why the fuck do Ferals need plus healing? I mean, sure, they're a hybrid and all that, but they decided to swap it. They realized, let's change that to giving them armor pen and more critical strike. So, because ferals are more offensive than healing. But again, keep the intellect. You need that. So, it would be cool if Blizzard, and I think it's the same thing on like Rep Paladins and Enhancement Shamans. Both are garbage specs, by the way. They might swap them. And just kind of make that change early on with the early sets of gear. Maybe I should look at it. But Enhance has Lust. Oh, God. Okay, you're right. Enhance is good. Is there anything else? Did they talk about battle groups on here? Like, are they going to have multiple battle groups or just one big one? That's all the info. Okay. I don't know. I think it'd be a good change. Again, swap the plus healing and make basically this change happen earlier. Because it's obviously a problem. They just didn't recognize it until later in the expansion. So, I'd like that. Nothing about battle groups? Okay. And they're doing a Q&A today. All right. What time? Oh, it's happening now. Can I watch it? Is it co-streamable or no?
Recognized that power, and I'm sure it was not lost on him as well that there was this kingly figure walking in with long blonde hair, and that certainly stirred some memories in him as well. So all of those details, those are the things that we just pour over as we're creating these cinematics, and we have an awesome cinematics team. Taryn Gregory and his team just doing phenomenal work. I think the quality of what they've done in Shadowlands in particular has just been amazing, the little nuances. And so you see those moments of Anduin being horrified. You see when Sylvanas looks at him and kind of is in her eyes is pondering what's going on. So even though we find out that she did, it's clear that there's a lot more going on the surface, and that will be explored more fully throughout the course of Chains of Domination. And yeah, it does lead to
why do I hear someone like
final
clicking
conflict within the Sanctum of Domination, the Jailer's Stronghold, where Sylvanas is the last boss of the raid. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, but what I will say is that confrontation, I can say that I think it's going to be one of the most epic moments in our rating.
I was so confused.
It has so much story behind it, and we've spent so long now getting to know Sylvanas, seeing all these facets of her, the hero, the ranger general, the banshee, now this Maw-empowered form that was able to go to the top of Icecrown and throw the frozen throne at Bolvar. All of those facets will come into play in this encounter.
I agree, Steve.
And it's not going to be a simple matter of walking in there and playing our swords against Sylvanas. There's a lot of story wrapped up into that, and it's going to be a super exciting confrontation.
Yeah, maybe she'll have a moment to have that eye looked at. She hasn't had anything done to it since it got cut.
Someone's got to work on their mouth noises.
Okay. You should count the number of characters in Shadowlands who are carrying one kind of scar or another, because it's a lot of them.
Well, they are their scars, as one famously said. Holly, let's move to you for a second. Classic is now going to get Burning Crusade.
Oh, here we go.
Along with it. Burning Crusade Classic was announced today. And we got a great opportunity, or yesterday rather, a great opportunity listening to you talk about it. Many players are asking a lot of questions about that. So, for example, when moving from Classic to Burning Crusade, while keeping a copy of my character, let's say, on Classic to play separately, what's that going to look like for my gold or my items in the bank? Am I going to see any differences when I first log into that character on the two different realms I'm then on? And will they then go off into their own separate timelines, never to join again?
Great question. So I'm going to do my best to explain this simply, because we didn't we weren't able to get into a lot of the details. So
Reset
for you,
gold.
I'm going to give you an example of how it's going to work. In my case, I'm going to use my very original character named Holly on Worm Rest Accord. And I've got a level, we'll assume I don't play a lot of alts. Let's just say I have 2 characters. So I've got a level 60. When I log in on pre-patch, I will log in at that moment in time. We are taking a snapshot of the character when the servers are brought down at pre-patch. That snapshot is going to be copied to Classic Era and for Burning Crusade on the current server you're on. So when you log in, I see Holly on Worm Rest Accord. I'll see an option when I select Holly. Do I want to move on into Burning Crusade Classic, or do I choose to play in Classic Era? If I choose to move on into Burning Crusade Classic, I click the button, I'm off and running. So if I select my level 30, also originally named Halia character, and I decide, okay, this is my character, she's 30, I'm going to go to Classic Era and continue leveling up and enjoying my experience in Classic with my friends. I select Classic Era. So what that's going to look like for me on Worm Rest Accord that's moving on into Burning Crusade Classic is that character will look inactive. Then I will go to the Battle.net app, I will install Classic Era, then I will log into Classic Era to Worm Rest Accord.
Okay, this is all basic and obvious. If you were to send all of your gold to your main character from every single one of your alts and then copy it over, like, is that going to print gold? I don't understand.
The same. And then I will also have the option to play Halia on both. I can pay a fee and activate my clone on Burning Crusade Classic in that case and play both. And they will both have the same gold amounts that we had in the snapshot, same friends, etc. So it should feel the same and feel seamless.
I've copied characters before. It's basic.
Making a lot of effort to make it as smooth and as simple as possible.
Well, it seems like a lot of care has been taken to make that happen, and the first thing I thought of when it was announced was, all right, how are they going to handle this? They got these players that want to stay in vanilla forever, and there are some that clearly want to keep moving forward, and who knows how forward that ends up being in the future. But for right now, for Burning Crusade, it running through my head was all these ideas I could think of that you guys might try to make those people happy or to keep them happy where they are, and it sounds like this is the right way to do it. You guys feel like you've explored as much as you can, or I guess the game's not out, so maybe there's still time to explore more and get feedback, but you feel pretty good about how that's going to launch in that state?
I think we feel pretty good, but of course beta will tell us a lot more, so that's coming around the corner pretty soon, and we'll be looking for feedback on some of the decisions we have made, and of course where we can, we'll improve it and make it the best possible experience as we can. We do expect the majority of players are going to go into Burning Crusade Classic, so we are putting a lot of effort on both sides to make it as smooth as possible so that you can just jump in and play.
Brian, I got one for you. It's somewhat related. How will high population numbers be handled in the Burning Crusade Classic? The zones are small, and funneling everyone into a single location has been less than optimal for the release experience anyway. Exactly how do you handle all the bottlenecks, as well as heavily shared mobs and questing areas, dailies, that sort of stuff?
Okay,
well, to a certain extent, there's a desire, I think, to recapture that challenge of fighting over contested spawns. That's part of the gameplay, but at the same time, we do recognize that this is, you know, a high population of players, and we want to make sure that the experience is enjoyable. And so we have made optimizations and improvements to make sure that the servers are stable. We were able to leverage those to make sure that Encourage was stable and make sure that we can support high populations of players and make sure that the game is playable. But
it's still going to crash.
That experience of like, there's a spawn like of a mineral node or a rare herb or a netherwing egg, and I want to get that and someone else is competing with me for it. Like, that's part of the goal of the game, and so we don't want to like make any major changes to that. But
servers absolutely gonna fucking crash.
Higher populations than we normally did. We are willing to make like some targeted changes if we see that there are problem areas. We did this with Black Lotus during Classic, and so if we see that there's some particular problem area, we will take a close look and see if there's something that needs to be adjusted for the fact that we have large populations.
All right, let's jump back into Shadowlands for a second with a question from Volrin from the Deep Pockets Guild. I could use some gold. Maybe I need to go there. Will we be receiving more race/class combinations?
How do I ask questions?
Customization is such a major theme in this expansion. Ian, let's go to you.
Sure. So I mean, I think player agency and choice.
Also,
are
the mouth
certainly
noises
a
are gonna
major
make
theme
me
of the
fucking lose
expansion,
my
and
mind.
One of the ways that's expressed itself has been customization. We've seen a wider than ever array of cosmetics
pre-recorded?
and other options
Oh
for
my
players
God.
to choose among. But part of what we've also been trying to reinforce and maintain is differences, is a world that consists of different paths, and whether it's everything from class design and the return of abilities to us carving out spec niches, we want to maintain a world where there isn't exact symmetry. Things are cool, but they can be cool in different ways. Now, we've over the years gone back and re-examined race class combinations periodically. We've certainly reached a much more permissive open place in the modern game than was the case in Classic or Burning Crusade. And for now, we think we've gone about far enough. I think there are cultural differences. There's elements to these races' histories that preclude, for example, certain races from being demon hunters or certain races from being warlocks. And those are not lines we're looking to cross. But it's something we always re-examine going forward. So I think we don't have any plans in the middle of Shadowlands to change anything there. But I would never say never about any of these.
I think some people are surprised that that whether you're wearing cloth or plate, that you're going to be able to wear your Covenant's
Oh God, the mouth noises. Who is it? I'm literally scanning to find out who the fuck's doing it.
Surprise me.
Who's doing
does
that?
Does it surprise you that you guys decided to go ahead
Who's
and make that a little bit homogenous?
Holly!
I mean, I think that's one of those things that is a reflection of identity that we started really to broach with heritage armor. That was one of the first sets of armor that could be worn regardless of your class, regardless of material type. And when it comes to pure aesthetic expression, we want to give players more and more options there. And if you're someone who's looking for, you're a plate-wearing warrior, but you want more of a flowing robes vibe as you're going into combat, we have gameplay reasons why we don't want to let you transmog the entire range of cloth. But for these cosmetic sets that we introduce, the more options, the better.
Well, I love that stuff. Cynthia Lee wrote in, I think this is a good one for John. And this is very interesting. And I think, actually, I got a lot of this on the side, people saying, hey, you should ask this question. I'm like, well, I'm not really going to ask anything that I can't reprove first, but it turns out a lot of people asked it. World of Warcraft basically got me into the gaming industry, says Cynthia. I am super interested to know, how did your workflow change during this pandemic year? John, how did that go?
Wow, that's a great question. I think maybe first I'd like to start with how it changed us and maybe the way we think of what we do. Like everyone, this all happened very suddenly for us. One day we're working towards getting the next drop for the alpha out and looking forward to getting Shadowlands complete. And then the next day we're all hustling to get quickly get things packed up and move to home. And I think at first it was just sort of settling in and trying to connect with each other through Zoom or, whatever medium we had. We had really great response from our IT team. And then the team kind of reached out to each other, to find comfort and just feel connected in some way. But I think the most important thing for us is, as we saw, the horrendous events that were happening around us, and the isolation really that was happening, not only to us but to everyone, and certainly to our players, we found a purpose for ourselves. It's like, hey, we can connect people. This is what WoW started with. This happened before social media and Facebook, and we have a way to bring people together, give them something to do and to pass the time, and hopefully reconnect with friends. And I think it was really cool in a way to know that we were able to do something that was actually going to bring some peace and solace to people in a time that was pretty troubling, and still for many folks. And we certainly feel extremely
gonna leave it there
grateful, for the ability
until the next question comes in.
In terms of how other things has changed in our workflow, I think that we're all considering, well,
Someone said,
when this is over,
or Volts told me, the progression servers. I'm gonna mute. Will take all your gold, your guild, your auction houses, your mail, and go directly into Burning Crusade. Oh, I thought we were doing the next question. We really felt it, even though there are some concerns. The things that allow people to get this gold all so quickly are knowledge and experience and willingness to put in the time and effort. We wouldn't want to take that away from anybody who has thought ahead.
Hard parts are really.
Yeah.
I would walk walk down the hall, and like Brian's literally like 3 doors down. To walk into the area where he and his team ask him a question or tell him some really cool news about what was going on, in terms of our players. And I can't do that now, Or more likely with me because I forget. I'll ask a question.
Your goal's all going to transfer over. I mean, whatever. I guess it's
awesome.
A loss.
And I'll be walking down the hall, I'm like, oh, but you know what? I should have asked him this, and I'll turn right around and I'll ask him. Like, now it's like, well, I just hung up the Zoom call. Do I really call him back up again? And I'm sure our whole team sort of feels that way, and especially the new team members. Holly hadn't even been with us that long before. We're like, okay, you're now working from home. Don't worry about moving.
Yeah, that must have been something else. All I know is from a player and as a fan and somebody who pays a lot of attention to this sort of stuff, to see you guys launch a full expansion.
You should care. I do care.
One that was
but it's a loss. What are you going to do?
People were home, and an opportunity to get back into WoW and have that happen with so little hitch. Like, I was shocked that day. I said, well, I'll be in queues all day, or it won't be up, or authentication servers will be down. I had all kinds of bad attitudes about what was going to happen. And you guys nailed it, and I'm still not entirely sure how you pulled it off, given all the circumstances you just described. But I assume you and the team are pretty proud of how that all went down.
Amazing team, Scott. I mean, I've been in the industry a lot of years, and this is truly the most professional team I've ever worked with. I mean, they love this game. We all came to the game because we were players and we loved it, and they just plowed on. Especially everyone on the team is awesome, but I think especially in finishing things, you look at our live ops team. Not only did they successfully get Shadowlands out without a hitch, and we certainly had some hitches. I certainly goofed by predicting the date a little bit ahead of time, but I think we did the right thing. We took the time to make the game right and really tune that in game. But the live ops team had to support not only that and the shifts that were going on there, but they went ahead and got Next Ramos out for us during that time. Because we didn't want to let down the classic players just because Shadowlands was running behind.
Well, it's a really impressive feat. Speaking of impressive feats, we got a lot of people wondering what happened to the Archon, and we have one in particular.
Let's talk about the
asked, what happened to Archon? Is she dead, or is she just wounded? Steve, let's throw this one to you.
Yeah, we again, when we're reviewing these cinematics and talking about all the details, we actually
it's a retail question. So the only things I want to ask right now, I'm just gonna mute because I can't listen to a question I don't care about personally, and Holly's mouth movements right now. I want to hear about battle groups. Are they going to have lots of battle groups? What are they going to do about high populated servers? Are they going to talk about faction? Like, there's going to be 20% Alliance and 80% Horde. I truly believe that. I mean that. Seriously. Oh, but we're making the rep paladin change. Okay, that will not fix it. Will there be more? Are they going to ask about it? Are they willing to do, I don't know. Are they willing to do things to fix it? I don't know. Free faction changes, potentially, so you and your entire guild can swap if you want after the server goes up, right? Like, I don't know. These are questions I want to ask right now.
Excellent. Ian, I've got one for you here that turned out to be one of the most common questions that we received. Saressa
free?
From the EU
well, it's like you need to be able to make it free so the whole guild can leave, right? No one's going to leave once they're established, unless the whole guild can come.
Really struggling right now and can use some help. Also, what happened to cause this?
Let's go!
So this is something we talk about a tremendous amount.
But is that retail? Wait.
You know there's a very real problem, in particular at the high end.
This is for retail. Oh, y'all better jump on this question too.
This is something that has been a growing issue over the past, really, I would say, 6 to 8 years. I think as to what caused the problem, it was an imbalance in racials between the factions.
Yep.
That was allowed to persist for a little bit too long. I think we saw over the years many top alliance guilds switch to Horde, particularly the Mists of Pandaria era, a couple more in Warlords, a couple more in Legion, driven by orc and troll racials that simmed better, that just yielded higher DPS outputs or had specific advantages on fights. At this point, we don't think the racials are imbalanced. In fact, in Castle Nathria, Alliance, not even arguably, I think, had the all-around racial advantage. But the thing that keeps people on one faction or makes them tempted to move is the social dynamics. It's the feeling that if you're a raider looking to join a top-end guild, there are simply more options. And if your first choice doesn't work out, there's others to explore and fall back on. If you're looking to run high-end Mythic Plus dungeons, there are more people looking to do that content there. And that's a challenging problem to solve because really, we can't undo this movement that's happened over time. And it would take something tremendous to make people who had switched from Alliance to Horde want to suddenly switch back.
Make it free.
Buff Alliance racials or something to the point where they were so overpowered that it really felt like just bad. It just felt like it was game breaking, and we were really telling people that they should play the other faction.
Like for a day, like for a first,
where
whatever.
we
I'm
offer
not
bonuses
mad.
for the underrepresented faction where possible. But fundamentally, this is a social issue that's likely to need a social solution. We don't have anything super short term that we can do about this, but it is a top priority for us. Personally, in the past, on stage at BlizzCon, Alliance and Horde are pillars of the Warcraft franchise. Those are pillars of what makes Warcraft Warcraft. And that's not something that we can just brush away. But we have begun to ask ourselves where the edges of that tension lie. We have something like mercenary mode in Battlegrounds that allow players to effectively, disguise themselves as a member of the opposite faction and play there to solve what were major Battleground queue imbalances back in the day. It's essential to us that identity and faction matter in Warcraft, and that years from now, no matter what we do, when we're all together in Anaheim at BlizzCon, and someone, whether it's the successor of Chris Metzen, whether it's John, whoever, is up on stage rallying, where's the Horde at for the Alliance, that there are roars coming from the crowd for each faction. If we lose hold of that, we will have lost hold of something precious. And so that's the thing that we need to preserve at all costs.
This question was answered
not
so
the
long
cost
ago.
of people's enjoyment and feeling at home and feeling like
it's
they
been
can,
answered, Ian.
Form and maintain
Really good
while
answer.
doing the
Oh,
content
it's
they want
already
to do.
over.
So
Whatever.
that's what we're trying to navigate. We don't have any specific answer to announce right now, but that's the problem that faces us and how we're thinking about it.
Do you ever see, this is a bit of a follow-up for me, but have you ever seen a swing in either direction, either faction population direction, due to story elements? Has an expansion come out like, I don't know, Warlords, and everybody suddenly went, ooh,
Absolutely not.
that's very
No
Horde
fucking
focused.
way.
I'm going to be Horde this time and level a
No.
Horde tune or whatever. Does that have any impact on
There's no way.
this problem of
Just say no,
faction
Ian.
imbalance?
A little bit. I think to be clear, across the game as a whole, faction balance is actually solid, right? Alliance and Horde are relatively even if you're looking at the entire player base. It's when you start to look specifically at Mythic raiding guilds, specifically at the number of groups that are doing Mythic plus a certain level, above a certain level, that imbalances increasingly emerge. But those are also key socially driven activities.
I believe that.
We certainly have seen, though, for example, in Battle for Azeroth, more people made cross-faction alts than ever before because they wanted to see both sides of the story. And there were compelling differences to the war campaigns on each faction. But at the end of the day, that's not going to make you leave the group of friends that you've played with for a long time or your longtime guild. There's a bond there, and that bond is essential to Warcraft, World of Warcraft.
Gotcha. Well, Brian, I've got one from you, or for you here. This is from several WoW Classic players, and they ask this. After I play Burning Crusade, when I decide to play my main character additionally on a Classic Era realm at 60, will you have my name reserved for me there, or is there a chance I'll have to rename my character?
Oh, that's a great question. And I think kind of building on what Holly said, it really is like a snapshot taken at the time that we launched the patch. And so at that point, you do have your name in both places. Of course, part of the reason that we want to make people make a choice here and encourage them to choose the place that they want to go is so that we don't have people parking on those names forever. So at some point, we might decide to relax that and let those names.
I don't know how
be
you guys watch
unreserved.
live streams.
But if you decide on launch day that you're
I'm
gonna
not kidding.
pay for the clone,
I don't know
and
how
you
y'all
wanna have
do it.
that clone in both
I want to
eras,
fast
you'll have your
forward
name in both places.
so
One of the
badly.
things that we are also concerned about, though, is what that looks like in Classic
How do
Era,
you do
like,
this?
as we expect most players to go to Burning Crusade, and we'll probably have to do something to resolve that.
Like,
Our current
I
plan is
literally
to be
just
able to keep
based
the
on
name,
muscle memory
but probably
started
have
hitting my
something
arrow
similar
key
our
trying to
Connect
fast
realms
forward like
that
a
lets you
YouTube video.
have, the realm
Oh
name
my
on
God.
the end so that we can resolve any conflicts if we have to do any mergers like that.
Interesting. So on some realms, there seems to be a
I'm
mass
baffled.
exodus to
Y'all
higher
are some patient
population realms,
motherfuckers.
and
I swear to
Nimbley
God.
From the Excessive Guild points out, are there any plans connect more of them. So Ian, this is back to you. What happened last year with Realm Connections, and will that help any of what you talked about earlier?
Yeah, so I guess speaking of past BlizzCons, I think, a couple of, the last time we were all together for a BlizzCon, I talked about Connected Realms, answered the question there, and it was a massive undertaking.
Yeah, please use push to talk. Can I upvote in Twitch chat?
Like that John was talking about earlier, to really do just a survey of all of the realms across the world, their population trends, their faction balance.
God, I feel bad too, because she seems so nice.
And a series of connections.
But man, I just can't listen to it.
This is a manual process because we are effectively copying an entire realm's database of characters over to another realm.
Oh God.
We have to deal with auction houses, mail, banks, all the rest. And so
it's a mic problem. It's not her fault. Sure, I don't care whose fault it is. Fix the problem.
To address
it's pre-recorded. It's not going to get fixed. Oh God.
Realms that
I'm fine.
Over the years, we've seen people move to.
All right, I'll wait for the next question. Thank you, Metal Lloyd Sword. True, I literally just sat here wanting to fast forward your stream to Little Nightmares. Wrap it up, nerd. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Thanks for the $5 though. Is she still smacking it? I mean, yeah.
Shadowlands actually had huge effects on server populations. One of the things that made us gun shy about doing realm connections in the.
I hear her like breathing too. I don't want to listen to it. Sorry. Are you still playing WoW off stream? Not really.
So we wanted to make sure that
I'm gonna run Nax Ramus this Friday, I think. In a guild where you have to pay for all the gear.
When realms feel like their population levels are too low.
I'm gonna buy like everything. So I need to start farming some feral gear.
We also want to
GDKP.
Make the game itself to make playing on those types of servers more attractive and just a better place to be. Because even if
literally gonna be an Omega Lol whale raid.
And to those realms, even if it's better than feeling like you're isolated. But things like cross-server gameplay over the years have, of course, significantly reduced the burden or the downsides of being on another realm.
I got plenty enough gold to spend.
But we start to look at things like.
Plus, it's all going to carry over to TBC2, PogChamp.
Well, and I know the answer to this already, and it's eternal to the Q&A of BlizzCon every year, I swear. But you're never going to let Horde and Alliance raid or Mythic Dungeon together, are you? That's just not going to happen. Like, that's never going to be a way to help this or the population issues we talked about before. Like, we're never getting that.
I honestly would not say never. I think that's kind of what I was getting at with my answer earlier. There are a ton of reasons why it's essential to retain faction identity. But, for the sake of Rated Arena from day one, Alliance could fight Alliance, and Horde could fight Horde, right? When Burning Crusade launches, when Burning Crusade Classic comes out later this year, that will be a thing, and that will be a competitive activity. And that was one of those areas where the gameplay and the need for matchmaking was the top priority and had to be. And so, in an ideal world, all these priorities would coexist. But at the end of the day, an MMO like World of Warcraft is about being able to play with your friends, being able to play where you want to be, and arguably, there's greater strength in the faction identity if you feel like you can truly choose the faction that you identify with, that you feel like most a part of, and not have to sacrifice that because you need to be with your group or you want to join a higher rated guild. I mean, I have coworkers who are lifelong Alliance players who now play Horde, who really wish they could be Alliance, and they're doing it for guild reasons. And I know there are tens of thousands, maybe more, in that exact same boat around the world. We'd love to do something for them.
There's plenty in our guild that are in that boat, and I wish them well to stay with us. Let's stay with you for a second, and let's get into some anima. Reminar from the Ministry of Pain Guild asked this important question.
I wish they mixed the. I guess they only wanted to do one Q&A, but
is it possible for each of the Covenant sanctuaries
I don't really play. But is she muted?
Wide? There's a lot of collectibles across all covenants, and to get them all would be a gargantuan feat at this point.
Well, so we have been tuning the anima economy since Shadowlands release.
I think I heard it.
We recently hotfixed anima drops from raids and dungeons. We will be looking to add some new sources of anima going ahead in Chains of Domination as there's new world content and as the story advances to make that make sense. And we're overall looking at the costs. That said, the cosmetics themselves are generally account-wide, as cosmetics tend to be. And the anima system itself is a progression that is designed to span the bulk of Shadowlands. We have some new rewards and some new cosmetics to earn and goals to chase coming in Chains of Domination, but it's not like you're going to feel like you're falling farther and farther behind over the course of the expansion. We want people to feel like they can close in on those goals and reach a point where, you know, they have everything they want from the
I'm reading their chat right now.
Covenant and can turn their attention to all.
Just remove factions.
If it
It's
feels
worthless
like, you know, we're
anyways. I
hearing
don't know
feedback
about that
and
one.
their data, if
They don't
that
care.
progression
Hashtag push
isn't
dog Holly.
happening
Why
at a
is
rate
he
that feels
laughing? It's
satisfying,
just a
we
random
absolutely
fucking
like
sad
that.
face.
All right, we're going to throw a question out here from Becest, who asked a question about Sire Denathrius. As we know, he is an eternal one, and Sire
Oh, here we go.
Denathrius was imprisoned by
Nope,
us
don't care.
after Castle Nathria. What will he do? Will we see him again, or is he forever trapped in that sword of his?
So this is a kind of fun story because it shows how our best laid plans can kind of adapt based on you know, how the game develops. So I'll give you an example of, like, during Battle for Azeroth, we had intended for this character called Bwansambi to be one of the Loa to make kind of a, you know, he was going to be there, but you know, it was no big deal. There's a bunch of Loa in there. But once we heard the great Alex Desire give his performance as Bwansambi, we were like, oh man, this character's awesome. We need more of this character. And so then we were like, yeah, we could do this with him. We could do this with him. And of course, we carried him into Shadowlands, and he's got this whole dungeon, the other side, that tells more of a story because we love him so much. And so, you know, as we're planning our heroes and our villains for Shadowlands, we're like, yeah, Sire Denathrius, he'll be this boss, and you know, in Castle Nathria Ray, and you'll kill him, and cool, blah blah blah. And then we heard the actor Ray Chase give this performance, and from the very beginning, when we first heard like his performance in the Revendreth animatic, we were just like, well, this guy's awesome. We love Sire Denathrius. And I think probably at some point along the way, as we're getting more VOs coming in, we're having sessions and we're loving them, I probably went to Morgan Bay, our one of our lead designers who oversees encounters, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to leave Sire Denathrius alive at the end of this because he's just too good. And I'm sure that we will find some other route for him to take in the future. And so
I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, but also I love that Bwansambi got similar treatment. It was such a treat to run into him in this expansion and go through that bit that I went through during the level.
If the next question pisses me off, I'm closing the stream.
Well, it's good to see him again. I hope he never goes anywhere. So, all right, good news.
Yeah, and
Sire Denathrius probably not gone for good.
Yeah, that's one of the things that shows. You know, again, we watch fan feedback too to see what the community is responding to, who these characters are that they really gravitate to, and like the memes for Sire Denathrius, of course, are profound and many. So yeah, I won't give any spoilers, but he is in that sword, and you know, there may just be allies of his that would be interested in liberating that sword from the Naru's grasp, but we'll just have to see what happens.
Have to wait and see. Well, all right, we've got a great question here
Okay.
from Ultravarius from the Guardians of Fate Guild. This is for Eli. When we see, when
Oh, hey, I got SSX open.